ready to come get me. And that's what I did because we had no radio show yesterday. It was fun. It was, my golf wasn't great. It's driving me nuts. I can hit great shots, but I can't hit enough of them. You know what I mean? There's always one bad shot at a hole. So I end up making a lot of bogeys. But anyway. All right, we have a lot to talk about, and let's start out with the fearsome fivesome. We will start off with that. And number one is obviously what happened with softball last night, beating Oregon State the way they did, 7-1. And what a performance by Natalie Lugo. But here's a great stat that Chris Harry had in his story. Florida in SEC games hit 257, which isn't a great average. And it's one reason they finished as low as they did in the SEC, which was uncharacteristic in softball. In the postseason, they're hitting 405. Now, I know the pitching changes, and you're not seeing pitchers that you're used to seeing because you get different looks at people. In fact, last night, Florida benefited from the fact that Mariah Mazone, I think it's Mazone, or it could be Mason, Mazon. I'll just spell it out. So usually when I'm a writer, that's all I had to do was spell it out. But anyway, who's their best player? She's their starting pitcher. She's a Brad Wilkerson. She's their best pitcher and one of their best hitters. And she was out, and they said undisclosed reasons. So I don't know if this was COVID or something else. I always hate it when they say undisclosed reasons because it gives people a license to say whatever they want. Oh, I know what it was. You know what I bet it was? It was she was fighting in the Ukraine. I mean, you could say anything if nobody tells you what it was. Now, there may be a privacy issue. Maybe again, I don't want to even say maybe because it's her problem. Whatever's going on there, it's their problem. But anyway, Florida gets that win. It's a huge one. You've got to win that first game. It's huge. I remember the first year I went, Florida lost the first game, and now they've changed the way they do it. But then you would have another day where you were off because they wanted you to have the experience of it. I saw the interviews. All the young ladies were talking about, hey, just what I was hoping they would be saying. Hey, we're out here. We got nothing to lose, man. In the first place, everybody knows Oklahoma's going to win this thing, okay? So why not be the team that gets to the final? And then you never know. Weird things happen. Look, Oklahoma is playing basically home games. They actually just played their conference tournament at that same stadium, the same stadium that they're at now. And certainly Oklahoma State actually beat Oklahoma in the conference tournament. So Oklahoma State is the next team that Florida plays. They play them Saturday. I always mispronounce his name. Kajeski, I think it is. Something like that. Anyway, he used to be a coach at Florida and now is a head coach out there. And I'm pretty sure Florida faced them one other time in the College World Series. But anyway, congrats to them for getting win number one. You have to get that first win. You don't win to get that first one. It's hard to come out of that loser's bracket. So winning that game was huge. And of course, on the other side of the bracket, there's Oklahoma, and all they did was run rule Northwestern, hit 2 grand slams. I'm like, why are they even playing this thing sometimes? But they're having a lot of fun. It sounds like they're really enjoying it, and they're understanding, hey, we're underdogs. If we just getting here, we won. And not many Florida teams in the past would have said that. But this team was different. This team finished way back in the standings. This team, when the regionals come out, you go, I don't know if they get out of that regional. When the super regional, they've got to travel for a super regional. Last time they did that, they lost to Wichita. No, it was Texas A&M. And before Texas A&M joined the league, Stacey Nelson was pitching. That's the last time they went on the road for a super regional. But here they are in Oklahoma City. I wish I was there. I love Bricktown, man. That is a great place. I'm not a big Oklahoma City fan, but I love Bricktown. And it's a cool atmosphere in some ways. The traffic's bad. You have to deal with that. And that's good. You get that many people. And this is basically the home of women's college softball. That's where the Hall of Fame is and everything. So that's why they have it there. And they do a great job of supporting it, and they've added on to a lot of things. So good for Florida. And we'll talk about a little bit later on the Hester and Kipke games of the weekend when they play again. Baseball playing tonight at 6:30 against Central Michigan. Now, Central Michigan got a good team. They won their conference, and they've got a pitcher named Andrew Taylor. Since I've got a little water on here, Andrew Taylor, I couldn't find it, who's really good. I think he was the National Freshman of the Year last year for Central Michigan. They've got a good team. Brandon Sproat's going to pitch for Florida, who has been unbelievable of late. Again, you got to win that first one. Look, I've covered Florida when they didn't win the first one and went on to win the whole, or actually got to Omaha. But that team that was a 98 team. They lost to, I want to say, Wake Forest in the first game. And I went, well, they're done. They don't have enough pitching. They found a way to do it, much like they did in 17 when they were trying to figure it out. And you have to do, especially when you have rain. Now, we're supposed to get some rain on Saturday. We'll see if we do or not. But obviously, I'd be curious to see what kind of crowd. I think this crowd will be fired up. I think there'll be a lot of people out there. I think the fact that Florida went 4-2 at the SEC tournament is going to be and 4-1 really, because the one game they're too, a bunch of guys. But it is interesting. By the way, the regionals have already started. I was watching the FSU UCLA game from Auburn before I came in today. So those have already started, and it's a fun time of the year for people like me. I love baseball and softball. They're not my favorite sports, but I love watching them, and they kind of get you through this time of year. But it is pretty cool, So we'll see how all that works out for them. All right, the next thing I wanted to bring up on the Fearsome Fivesome here on Another Dooley Noted Podcast from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Celtics beating the Warriors last night. We had it. Jennifer got full exposure to my 2 TV system because I had the Florida game on one TV and the Celtics game on the other. So we're watching the Florida game pretty intensely. And I go, well, the Warriors are taking care of business. They had a great third quarter. I think in the third quarter they went up 15. Yeah, they hit 38 points in the third quarter, and that's what they do all the time. 38 points in the third quarter, you're done. No, Celtics came back and said, "To hell with you. We're not all these teams you've been playing," and ended up winning the game 120-108, 40-16 in the fourth quarter. And what's amazing is that the Celtics did what the Warriors usually do to people, which is make a bunch of threes and just bury you under an avalanche of threes. They made 21 of 41 threes. Think about that. They took 41 threes. There are players who've had nice careers in college who didn't take 41 shots in their life from three-point range. It's unbelievable. That's the way it works. So, by the way, Al Horford was unbelievable again last night. I can't root. I don't want to say I'm a Warriors fan, but I like the Warriors. That's probably my favorite team, but I don't live and die with the Warriors. I couldn't tell you what their record was during the year. But I can't root against Al Horford, so I'm just kind of watching this year. Horford with 23 and 6, and today is his birthday. And he made 6 3-pointers, I think, in that game. But today is, I don't know what birthday it is, like it's a 100th birthday. He's an old man. So congrats to them. And that, look, Warriors got to bounce back, got to win the next game. The SEC meetings have broken up with no resolution on what they're going to do with the schedule in the future. Of course, we're talking about down the road in 2015 or 25. I'm sorry, when Texas and Oklahoma join the SEC, that's when we'll have to redo the schedule. But it's clear they've got 2 possibilities. One is you play 1 permanent opponent and 7 rotate, or you play 3 permanent opponents and 6 rotate, which would mean a 9-game league. And we'll see if that happens. And I'll talk a little bit more about that with Coach Spurrier because I want to ask him about it. Also, Gonzaga got the big stud from Chattanooga, Malachi Smith. Drew Timme announces he's coming back. They're going to be preseason number 1. And I looked because there was a list of the 25 best transfer portal gets. There were a couple still out there, so I don't know if Florida's in the mix for any of them. The only one that Florida did have, Kyle Lofton from St. Bonnie, was number 25. So That is our fearsome five. We got a lot of things to talk about, including all of our fun stuff. But first, we'll bring in Coach Spurrier and talk to him about what I want to talk to him about a bunch of things: SEC scheduling, NIL stuff like that. Football, golf. I'm definitely going to talk some golf with him. We'll be right back after we take this break on Another Dooley Noted Podcast, presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios.
Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
Another Duly Noted Podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Celebration Point. You can watch and listen to us on Facebook and YouTube for every podcast that we do on Mondays and Fridays at 2 o'clock. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast, any of the other 39 platforms where you can find this podcast or your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section below or call me if you want to do some advertising at 352-317-3444.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from Another Duly Noted Podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What gave you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place like this?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. To Go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life, and the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
All right, welcome back to Another Duly Noted Podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. And Meldon Law is, of course, the sponsor of Coach Spurrier's appearances. And we're going to get you back to the Monday schedule because I know you've been doing a lot of things, including playing out of Pebble Beach, which I wish.
Well, they have that coaches tournament.
I wish I could do
coach,
that.
Yeah, they had a full house, had 30 coaches. Of course, about 10 of us were former coaches. They still love to come out there and play Spanish Bay, Spyglass Hill, and then Pebble. Our team actually won the low gross 5 times. The first one 30 years ago in '92, and then the last one was 2004. So the teams I've been taking out are not competitive for the low gross, but we're in the handicap portion, but we didn't do any good. But it is a fun place, and a lot of coaches, these young coaches, it's neat to be around them. And, a lot of them ask for, not advice so much, but just, love to talk to, I guess, us older coaches. So anyway, we were out there attempting to play that thing, but then got back last night. And I thought maybe we'd talk a little bit. You know, our seasons for all the sports at Florida are just about over.
Just
except
about, yeah.
baseball and softball. I think
And we have track next week.
Oh,
and
that's
then it's over next Saturday.
and
yeah.
then that's
yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe give a quick review.
Okay.
Because the
That sounds
fans
good.
out there sometimes the sports in the spring and summer get overlooked. And I sort of made a list here. First of all, let's talk about men's tennis. Ben Shelton won the individual national champ.
Second year they had the individual champ, different guys, which is amazing.
Yeah, that is neat. And although that's just individual, tennis and golf are sort of individual sports, but they're team sports in college. And our team did not win the national championship in tennis, but Ben won the individual. But we won the SEC, went undefeated in the SEC, had a wonderful year. Coach Brian Shelton is maybe the best tennis coach in America. Let's talk about our golf a minute. Our women's golf finished second in the SEC tournament.
Yep.
I read we've been finished second like 13 times in school history. Do you know that? I didn't know that.
I didn't know that, yeah.
And I don't think we've won many of them. But Emily Glazer does an excellent job with our ladies golf team. No question about it. And then, of course, Jenny Rowland, gymnastics, we were that far away from winning it all. Won the SEC, won all the district region, and OU nipped us for the national championship in that sport. But Jenny Rowland, it's fantastic. J.C. Deacon, we got to the final 8 or final 16. They had a good year, just didn't quite, get those big championship trophies. Anthony Nesty in swimming. I think we've won the SEC 10 or 11 straight years in a row. And just amazing how good all of our spring sports are. And then our ladies lacrosse team won their conference championship. Amanda O'Leary does an excellent job with that group. And we're still in baseball and we're still in softball.
Yep.
So hopefully something big's going to keep happening there.
I imagine you watched that softball game last night.
A little bit of it. I was actually flying. I was
that's
flying
right, yeah.
back from Pebble Beach and going through Atlanta and so forth. But anyway, the spring sports and so forth have done well as usual. Mary Wise in volleyball had another excellent year, and those teams are really good.
You're like me though. I mean, just because football season's over doesn't mean everything's over. It just picks right up and keeps going. I like to watch it.
And I wish our local newspaper would give more notice to the other sports. I remember one day
I can't help you there
I picked
anymore.
up the paper, and the headline, some 3-star committed. The guy had no offers from a Power 5 school, and he's got the headlines in the Gainesville paper, and it said, "Oh, by the way, men's tennis won the SEC again." And by the way, way down in the article, but and then they say, well, people want to read about football and basketball. That's all they want to read about. And I said, I don't know. I think I'd want to read about the winners.
Yeah.
The teams that are really doing something fantastic. But that's just my opinion. I don't want the newspaper dudes to get mad at me.
No,
but
no,
that's they got to do.
There aren't that many of them over there, so it's
Yeah, well, they got to do what they have to do to sell papers. I understand that, but they need to support these other teams, I think. One of my new favorite coaches is Dave Clawson at Wake Forest. How many times do you read about one of these coaches that makes between $4 or $5 million and $7, $8, $9 million, that he gave some money back to his university and to the community he lives?
Right.
But I was flipping around the other day, and they had a replay of the Wake Forest spring game, and they were interviewing him. And I said, I'm going to listen. And the announcer said, I know everyone in the area is really appreciative of the money you gave to local charities and to Wake Forest. And he said, well, it's an honor for me to be in a position to do it. I owe, gosh, so much to Wake Forest and this town of Winston-Salem that, kind of money we make, that's what we should do. So Dave Clawson is one of those guys that believes in giving back. I don't know why all the other coaches seem not to do it, but I would think that the fans would love it and be appreciative when a coach that makes millions and millions gives back. Saban gives a lot back. So does Dabo Sweeney, and I guess a lot of them do that we don't even know about. But anyway, Dave Clawson, give him a shout out.
I actually still have his phone number in my phone because I interviewed him when he was at Tennessee.
Yeah. And I can assure you, Jerry and I are proud. We've still got a women's scholarship in our name. Gosh, I think we donated that back in about, 1999 to 2000, right in there somewhere.
Yeah. So
Anyway.
that goes to just for scholarship.
Women's scholarship
Yeah.
as they see fit.
That's cool. Well, it's funny because those are the kind of things that you're happy, and the NIL stuff that everybody's getting mad about and everything. And I'm like, well, whatever makes these athletes gets them stuff. I'm all in favor of it. I think though, what I'm hearing more and more of this, where people are saying, look, the NIL is going to play itself out eventually. Eventually, it'll all settle down. Right now, everybody's freaking out about it. But
Yeah, they are, and there may be some kind of legislative reform on it. I think when they started this, they thought, well, once a player gets to a school and he does very well and he's got some advertising endorsement possibilities, he should be able to do it. They didn't know that before he ever got to school, he was going to start taking handout money from whoever's the highest bidder, which is not what college sports used to be about. And maybe some pro sports later on are like that, but when you become a free agent. But anyway, hopefully if they could get it back to where once a player is there and he plays 1 year, if somebody wants to give him $10 million, that's perfectly okay.
maybe they should tie your GPA into how much you can earn. That wouldn't be a bad idea to say, hey, you've got to be showing progress, or
And then somebody be paying off the professor to give him an A.
Well, I mean, the thing is, it's funny is now the boosters are more involved than ever before. I mean, you always had to deal with boosters, but you were just trying to raise money for facilities.
The university.
Like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the university and fundraising and so forth. And we got excellent boosters here. Obviously, maybe not quite as much as Texas A&M or Georgia, Alabama, and so forth, but we got an excellent bunch of guys who have contributed mightily to athletics here at Florida.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, the SEC meetings were this week. Nothing really came out of it except that they're going to stay in Hoover for 2 more years. I'm like, okay, that's a big news for baseball, but they're split on the model. One model is 1 permanent opponent and 7 that rotate every year, every other year. So you get to play. I mean, the biggest thing is they want people to go on to see campus, see everybody, see the campuses at different places, go everywhere. And the other model is have 3 permanent opponents and 6, and it's split right down the middle. And of course, a lot of the people want a lot of the have-nots don't want to go to the 9-team model because they want to go to bowl games, and that cuts down on their chances of it. Saban, Kirby, guys like that want to go to that because it makes their strength of schedule better,
Well, it is a more interesting game, and but I also like the idea of the smaller schools when they come to your place, they get a paycheck that helps keep their program going. I remember the coach at South Carolina State. He said, "Coach, we just appreciate you guys playing us, and we get a nice paycheck, helps keep us solvent, and so that's something the big schools can do to help out the smaller schools."
Yeah, absolutely, and that's where I think there's a lot of arguments that go both ways on this. I mean, you can make an argument either way. So, also, there's been a lot of talk. Did you hear this? That Ryan Day spoke again to boosters, trying to get them to pony up more money, and he said, "We're going to need $13 million to keep our roster intact." So that was the price. He said, "You guys need to raise that much money," and that's what coaches are having to do now, is to go out and say, "Here's how much money we need, or else players are going to leave."
Yeah, it's exactly the way it is now. The transfer portal. There was an article in USA Today magazine today about the quarterbacks all over the country. If you're not a starter, and the publicity and the coaches are not pushing you to be All-American, they want to transfer somewhere where maybe the coach and the PR man are going to make them an All-American and Heisman Trophy winner. So it's an interesting article about this guy. They're just bouncing all over the place. And even some guys that were starters 1 year go and, hey, the guy at UCF went to Oklahoma.
Yep.
And the guy from Oklahoma went to Southern Cal. And another one from Oklahoma went to South Carolina. So
and one from Southern Cal went to Ole Miss.
That's right. Yeah. So they're bouncing all over the place, but that's just the nature of what's going on now.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think about how crazy it is. I mean, are you kind of glad you're not a college coach now?
Oh, definitely. I preferred the way we did it back in the 90s and 2000s. And, yeah, all this stuff just came in, 2 years ago? 2, 3, something like that?
Yeah, a year and a half ago,
Yeah, because I remember when they passed it at NIL, they said it kicks in 3 years from now. So everybody, well, we don't know what's going to happen. And, well, now we do know what's going to happen. And it's not what we thought it was going to be. And the Supreme Court is the one that approved it, okay? And they didn't know it was going to be like this either.
No.
So I don't know if there'll be any kind of reform with it or not.
Do you worry about the game itself and that it could, I mean, it's not going to go away, but that it's being diminished and that, or do you think it'll all just work itself out?
Yeah, so far the attendance, the TV ratings, they're all the most ever. I mean, there's a reason these coaches make 6, 7, 8 million, whatever. It's because the money's bigger than ever.
Right.
TV rights and all that. So it hasn't affected financially the schools. It's a different game, but it's a different day, and that's the way it is until the rules change.
You see, Ryan Day just agreed to a deal. I think to give him. I think he's going to get $7 million.
Is that all?
Yeah, I think I was surprised it was that low. Sam Pittman just got a deal for $6 million a year. Kirby's got a deal. It's going to go for like 9 or something like that.
10 probably. Mm-hmm.
And I'm remembering about when you became the first $1 million coach.
That's right.
And what was that like to, I mean, was that where Jeremy Foley walked in and said, hey, we want to make you the $1 million coach? Or did you go and say, hey, I need a little more money. I'm winning a lot of games here?
No, I never did that. I don't think that I said that. No, he just said, for where we were before you got here. You know, when I got here in 1990, Jeremy said toward the end of '89, they had to go down and get a loan to pay the athletic department people.
Yeah.
They were empty. They were busted. And so where we came from 90 to 2000 or whatever, I don't know the exact numbers, but I certainly was never overpaid, whatever it was.
Yeah, I think it was like 93 or 94 when you went to a million.
Yeah, I think it was probably 96 or so.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Cause,
Might have been 90, yeah.
Oh, I mean, people said he's going to make $400,000 a year. Now we got assistant coaches make $2 million a year. You know, all over the place. So yeah, that was my first year at 400, and Galen was only 225.
Is that
so
right?
They said, why is that Spurrier getting so much money? So, but the naysayers, of course, they thought I'd be playing golf all the time, which I did. But you know, I got a new theory, Pat. Coaches that play golf a lot in the off season are better coaches. Think about it. Frank Broyles at Arkansas, Darrell Royal, Texas, Bobby Stoops at Oklahoma. All these guys winning as coach in school history. And they play a lot of golf, and I believe it's because we love to compete. And I mean, you know, when we played in the summer, we had a game. Everybody put $10 in the pot, add them all up, put them out, and whoever wins, wins. And if you lose, you lose. And the winner laughs the rest of the night, and the loser's still complaining, you know, about what happened.
And there's strategy, obviously, with golf too, you know.
But the idea of competing, and these coaches that say, well, I got to work all summer watching tape, to me, that's a wrong way to do it, but that's just my opinion.
I got to ask you this question. Hideki Matsuyama got disqualified yesterday because there was a mark on his driver. Now, I don't know if he put the mark on there or whether it was just a weird thing that happened, but that was a weird. I didn't even know that was against the rules. I thought you could do anything you wanted on there.
I did not know that rule, and I was traveling yesterday, so I didn't see it. But I tell you, there's a bunch of funny rules in golf, so you got to be ready for all of them.
You never marked your driver, though, I guess.
Not that I can remember that.
Yeah.
It's okay to mark your ball, though. You can put lines on it and all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that one.
It is a weird one, but it's going to be interesting to see what goes on with baseball, of course, tonight, and softball, and hopefully they can keep it going because, you know, like I'd like to watch the softball and baseball tournaments, but when Florida's not in it, I don't like it as much. You know, so it's like when they're in it, you're watching everybody to see what they've got, what kind of pitcher they have, what kind of guys they have. It makes it a lot more fun, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, it does when your team's out there in the hunt for it. And I tell you, let's give a shout out to Oklahoma.
Golly.
All their sports.
Yeah.
Not just their baseball teams here now. Their women's softball team is #1 in the country.
And they're going to win it.
Man, I saw them on TV the other day, and they are fast and athletic. And
Hit 2 grand slams.
Yeah, they swing the bat, and they are really an outstanding women's team. And Oklahoma won the
Gymnastics, obviously.
Yeah, they're
Been good in
their
football
entire
for a long
sports,
time.
Yeah, is
But again,
really good.
that was similar. What Bobby Stoops did at Oklahoma is kind of what you did here. Because even though they had a better tradition, they hadn't been good for a while.
They had a little down spells since Switzer left.
Yep.
And, of course, Bud Wilkinson was the first guy there.
58 in a row, I think he won.
Yeah. Interesting trivia question. I think Bud Wilkinson may be the winningest coach of all time percentage-wise.
Is that right?
At one time, his record was 100 wins and 7 losses, something like that. And so he was unbelievable, his percentage of wins at Oklahoma.
How much do you think that is the players, and how much do you think it is the ability of the coaches to just have a system that works?
Well, it's, obviously starts head coach all the way down through. And then when you get a group of players that are really good and want to be good, their leadership passes down to the young guys. And then, of course, they stay there. And when they become juniors and seniors, they pass it down.
Right.
And that's what we tried to do here. Because we had, the coaches can't yell at the guys all the time. You need to get one of the players to sort of, hey, get your butt playing, pal. That's not the way we play here at Florida. So when you got everybody, committed and attitude heading in the same direction, you got a chance to have continued success.
And that kind of happens. You hope it happens organically, right? It just happens. It's not like you have to tell guys.
Well, I was lucky the players were already here.
Yeah.
And Shane Matthews was already here.
Yeah.
Huey Richardson, Mark Murray, Odom. Oh, those guys were, they worked their tails off in the summertime and during the season. And so the team was here. We just needed to raise our expectations. Somebody had to tell them, you guys are good enough to win the SEC if you want to bad enough.
You would
And
think
they
that would be a
wanted to.
simple thing to do.
Well-
but for some reason, it's not always simple.
Well, you got to talk about it a little bit. I don't know. At Florida, we had talked about it much in the 90s. You know,
Right.
let's have a good team. Let's beat them. Let's have a winning season. Let's go to a bowl game. I remember we used to say, let's go to a bowl game. Now we say, let's go win the bowl game.
Yeah.
Anybody can go to a bowl game. But, you got to raise your expectations, and all the guys got to really want to go do it.
I was talking to Steve Tan the other day about I'm doing another chapter, a couple of chapters in that book I did, a couple with you, Game of My Life, and he was saying, yeah, when I was at Florida, man, going to a bowl game was the only thing we cared about. Well, that's all we cared about, and he only went to one his whole career, and that was the '69 game against Tennessee. But it was a big deal to go to a bowl because again, there weren't as many bowls then, and there were only so many.
Yeah. Well, most coaches back in those days did not talk about goal setting goals and trying to achieve it. John Wooden, obviously, as you know, passed one of my favorite coaches of all time. And so when I started reading his books and the way he coached, he won 10 national championships in 12 years. So I said, man, I'm going to try to do some of the things that he did. And first of them is, how to set goals. And you're on a journey. A coach and his team is on a journey. And when it's all over, you'll look back and see how you did. And so you set your goals all the way through the end of the journey and give it your best shot. And when it's all over, look back and see how many goals you achieved. I think that's one reason our guys did well some of these years that we did not win the SEC. We still fought back and won the bowl game, finished in the top 10 in the country.
Yeah,
all
that's
those
right.
years.
Yeah. Before I let Coach go, I got to tell you, we were playing at Marsh Creek, and you were playing right behind us. And of course, Coach caught up to us just in time to see me top the ball into the marsh on that par 3. Yeah, I topped it right into the marsh. And he and I are both having the same problems as we're not. I guess we're not staying down on the ball. We're too many tops.
Yeah, I don't play like I used to. I'm still trying to play. Every now and then, I hit enough good shots to think it's mostly mental. I mean, when you hit a grounder or something like that, or hit it off the toe, how in the world that happened? But anyway, we got to keep playing. We got to keep trying, and I get to play farther up, so I got no excuses.
Yeah, me too.
So I think
Me too.
I think it's in the brain.
Well, and we appreciate Kerry Splain, who let us out there, my brother and I, for playing. But boy, is that a punitive course, man! You're 5 feet off the back of the green, and that ball's gone.
That's the first time I played there in 6 months at least.
Really?
Yeah. I usually play either at Hale or at University course here. So with Dr. Pete, he plays usually just a little worse than I do. So I guess I guess somebody I can maybe beat, but I tell you, sometimes he hits it way past me when he catches it.
I played at UF the other day. Those greens are unbelievable. They're so fast.
No, they're fast. They're tough. Yeah,
I hit one on a putt on 9. The pin was in the front, and it's still going. It went all the way out the green.
Yep. I hope our baseball team has a good one tonight.
Yep.
Yeah, we're right in the hunt. I mean, that's the nature of playoffs. Is that if a team gets hot at the end, they go win it all.
Yeah.
The Atlanta Braves last year, they didn't even win their division, did they? They were way down the list and got hot.
I'd given up on
World
them.
Series.
Yeah. I'd given up.
So
on
anything can happen in baseball. Mississippi State wins baseball national championship last
it goes
year.
two and out.
They don't even qualify
Hoover,
this year.
Yeah, didn't even make it.
How many teams make it?
This is a
68?
good stat that Chris Harry pointed out. For example, you talk about getting hot. Softball in the SEC this year, SEC games hit 257 in the postseason. Are hitting 405. They're getting hot at the right time.
Yeah.
And we'll see if they stay hot.
All right.
We'll be back on Monday. Coach, you're going to come back on Monday and get that
plan
cranked
to
up
be here
again?
Monday.
Okay, so we'll
All
be
right.
back with Mondays with Coach Spurrier, brought to you, of course, by Meldon Law from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. We'll be back with more of Another Dooley Noted Podcast presented by Titan MRI right after this break.
Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
Another Duly Noted Podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Celebration Point. You can watch and listen to us on Facebook and YouTube for every podcast that we do on Mondays and Fridays at 2 o'clock. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast, any of the other 39 platforms where you can find this podcast or your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section below or call me if you want to do some advertising at 352-317-3444.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from Another Duly Noted Podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What gave you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place like this?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. To Go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life, and the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
All right, welcome back to Another Duly Noted Podcast, as always presented by the great Joe Calorio at Titan MRI, who just had a birthday as well. My daughter was Tuesday 21st birthday. What about that? And that's also Joe's birthday, May 31st. So congratulations, Joe. You made it another year. When you get to my age, it is going to feel that way. All right. Let us go to the Leonards and Millhopper quick picks. Here, I forgot. I was going to say something. I was going to say something that I was thinking about, and I forgot it. So there you go. Like a lot of things. It was important. Oh, I know what it was. That there are two ways to look at this football season in my mind. This Florida football season. Okay, one is that you can say, "Hey, got to win those first two games," and there's no telling what you can do. The other is watch this season how it progresses. Don't worry about the final record. Don't worry about what bowl they go to or if they go to a bowl. How does it progress? Do we see an upward climb? And then you get better players in and it continues. There is a part, because let me tell you what, almost every coach in the last, I think other than Steve, has kind of faltered towards the end of their season because they came in, they had good players in many cases, but in the end, it kind of wore on them. They weren't their players. So, I mean, there's two ways to look at it. At any rate, that was what I was going to say, and I guess I shouldn't have even gone there because it wasn't that good a point. All right, let us go to the Leonards and Millhopper quick picks, and of course, last week we had only two people qualify because almost everybody picked Golden State, which I would have been right there with you. And that was the weird thing is we're watching the game on the second TV with the sound off, and I'm like, Golden State's got this one in hand. And I look back and I go, what the H? What happened here? How in the world is Boston way ahead now and just rolling? It was weird. I wish I kind of had the sound up now. But anyway, so two people, actually I should say people because a lot of women also get in this contest. And of course, we had a record number of qualifiers for the last one that Ryan Emerson won. Ryan, I will get your stuff to you. It's been kind of a crazy week. But you know me. You know where I live. So that's not going to be a problem. All right, so we had two qualifiers only from this week. Let's go to we're going to do the same thing again where you have two games you got to get right, okay? One of them is Florida, Oklahoma State, Saturday in softball. Again, Oklahoma State's really good. They're a team that has beaten Oklahoma. There's not many of them out there. I think Texas was the first one to beat them, and Texas, of course, is still alive. And, Coach Spurrier was talking about how good Oklahoma is and everything. Yeah, bringing them in the league is probably not something that people like, Tim Walton and Kevin O'Sullivan and certainly Jenny Rolling are all that excited about it. At the other hand, now you've got the Super Conference. It is the Super Conference. Nobody else can compare with what the SEC is going to have when those two teams come in. And you can recruit better. Not that these people aren't recruiting great, but you should be able to recruit better because you say, hey, do you want to come to the conference where everybody is, all the brand names are? So Florida, Oklahoma State Saturday, and Celtics Warriors on Sunday. Those are your two games. See if you can get both of them right. And if you do, you qualify and you have a chance to win, of course, the great prizes, including $25 at Leonardo's at Millhopper. So that is our Leonardo's at Millhopper quick picks here from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Let us go to the Hand Law Three Things. Of course, we all know Hand Law. We know that Three Things is presented by Hand Law, a Florida law firm which helps clients with government. You can learn more about Hand Law by visiting its website at www.hand.law. The firm is available for consultation in Jacksonville. So let's go to Three Things. Number one, I just saw this story earlier today. Mackenzie Milton has announced he's retiring from football completely. He's not going to even try anything. He did go through kind of an NFL day at FSU. Look, he was a great player. He was. I had a feeling when he came back that he was not going to quite be the same guy, and we saw it all year with him. I mean, he was okay, but he wasn't great. He did some good things. That injury is a miracle he's even got his legs. So I do nothing but applaud him. I will applaud him right here. Great effort to come back like he did and do as much as he did. But he has announced that he is retiring. And the funny thing is, I don't know if it's funny, but it's interesting. He and De'Aaron King have now formed a NIL company, and that's what they're going to do. They're basically going to work with people on NIL. Why not have somebody who was pretty famous there for a while? Although I don't know how famous Mackenzie Milton was. He was famous in those college football circles, people who knew college football. I remember we were at SEC Media Days when I was at Atlanta, and Bianchi was trying to tell me that Mackenzie Milton was more famous than Felipe Franks. I go, no way. I said, Felipe Franks plays for Florida. Mackenzie Milton's better than Felipe Franks, but he's not more famous. So I said, what? Pick out any 4 people in this bar. Shocking, we were in a bar. And so we picked 4 people out, and we asked them if they had heard of one guy. Have you heard of Mackenzie Milton? Have you heard of Felipe Franks? 4-0. Felipe Franks won. But he was famous within the football fraternity, and certainly, again, I applaud him. Number 2, at the Canadian Open this year, I had to bring this up because it makes no sense to me. You can purchase a chance for you, and I think it's 30 people, or maybe it's not that many, maybe 15, to be hoisted up in the air during the golf tournament, 100 feet in the air, and this, and watch the tournament from there for 30 minutes. You only have 30 minutes. You get to eat and drink, and you're up there, and I'm like, no. How about no? How about A, it's kind of a distraction for the golfers, but B, I'm not taking any chances. It's enough of a chance for me to walk out the door every day. But if you want to go to the Canadian Open and be hoisted up in the air 100 feet, it's the golf tournament for you. But this is kind of an example. People are trying to find, in every sport, they're trying to find ways to get people more interested. And that's certainly an issue that football, that's an issue football has. I think I saw where the Commanders, I think they're called now, the Washington Football Club, the Commanders, they're going to build a new stadium, and it's again, they may have a new owner too, and it's going to be the smallest one in the NFL. That's where everybody's going. They're trending down because people don't like to go to games as much. They want to watch on TV, but you got to make it as great as it can be. That's why colleges are trying to schedule better, so there's a reason to come to the games. And number 3 on hand laws, 3 things. I saw this today or yesterday. Actually, Jeff and I talked about it briefly. Tim Brewster going to Jackson State. What a staff they're putting together there. Tim Brewster is like one of the best recruiters, a really good coach. Look what we did with Kyle Pitts. I mean, Kyle Pitts, a lot of it's God-given. There's no doubt about it, but he certainly did a lot of good things with him. I'm surprised he's not somewhere else, but maybe Jackson State had some NIL money laying around. So they ended up hiring him. So that's a great hire for them. Great guy. Everybody liked him. He's a really good coach, really good recruiter. When he was at Florida, nobody embraced being at Florida more than he did. Nobody. That includes the head coach. Damn on. I think Tim Brewster wanted to be here more than anybody. So that is hand law, 3 things. Let us go to our Adams Ribco to Go Gator of the weekend, or the Gator of the week, I'm sorry. There'll be another Gator of the weekend. And I'm hoping it'll be a lot to choose from, because that means everybody did good. We're at the end of it, and we'll adjust the Adams Ribco to Go Gator of the week and the weekend as we get forward into late June, early July, and maybe we'll do that. Last year we did the Mount Rushmores for every sport. We'll do something like that again. That'll be a lot of fun. We like to have fun in the summer. But our Adams Ribco to Go Gator of the week, Natalie Lugo. I'm sorry, there's a lot of people I could have included here, but and I couldn't. Coach mentioned Ben Shelton. I could have mentioned him, but I think Ben Shelton was actually last week. So, and by the way, I did not mention him on last week's show. I was a little discombobulated last week. Anyway, For I don't even remember why I was discombobulated. But anyway, so Natalie Lugo, here's what happened. She comes in the second inning. They're already down 1-0. The bases are loaded, nobody out. Gets out of it. Unbelievable how good she does. Now, she has been good, bad, good, bad. You know, you never know what she's going to give you. You're never going to guess who's calling right now. Yes. Kelsey always likes that 250 call. And she retired 18 of 19 in the game. Again, older pitcher. Hopefully she continues this. And I'm wondering, I wouldn't be surprised at all if they started her on Saturday. But she is our Adams Ribco to Go Gator of the Week. So congratulations to her. Let us go to Hesser and Kipke games of the weekend. Of course, Hesser and Kipke is a law firm based in Hale Plantation, specializing in employment, workers' comp, and family law. Visit their website at www.hklawfl.com or call Ken and Jennifer at 352-339-9920. 339-9920. That's Hesser and Kipke. And we appreciate them for being a double sponsor as well. All right, so the games of the weekend. Softball is going to be playing on Saturday at 7 o'clock against Oklahoma State. So that's appointment TV, I think, for a lot of people that care about softball. And I'm one of them, and I'm looking forward to it. I do miss being out there. I really liked going out there. Track, I mentioned this to Coach Spurrier earlier. Track actually starts Wednesday of next week and goes to Saturday. So that'll be coming up next week, so you'll need to pay attention to that. Baseball, of course, we don't know. We know they're playing tonight at 6:30. When they play after that, it's hard to say. I think the times are kind of set at 1 and 7, you know, like losers bracket, winner bracket. Usually winners bracket plays first and then losers bracket. But you never know with TV because they'll dish some things around, and so it's hard to say. But obviously, if there is no rain, there's supposed to be some rain Saturday. There's a tropical, I don't even know if it's a tropical storm yet, but it's a big storm coming through. It may totally miss Gainesville, though. So it may be okay. So we got that. So those are the big events that are going on. Of course, the Memorial Golf Tournament, which is, to me, the sixth major. I call it the sixth major after the Players, if you want to call the Players the fifth. If you want to watch it today on Friday, it's on from 2 to 6. And then on Saturday, 12:30 to 6, and Sunday, 12:30 to 6. Ought to be interesting, especially with all the stuff that's going on with the other alleged tour going on there. And basketball. Celtics, Warriors, 8 o'clock Sunday. Again, must-see TV. A lot of stuff to watch this weekend. It should be a fun weekend. I am really looking forward to it. Just to be able to sit back and watch all this stuff go on. Maybe play a little golf. I don't know. I got right there, the finger. It's starting to bother me. I don't know if it's from typing because I'm a two-finger typist or from golf. So I don't know. We'll figure it out. All right, the last thing for us here on this beautiful Friday, and everybody have a great weekend. I hope you do. This, that, and the Other, which we do every Friday, it is brought to you by Ironwood Golf Course, which is getting better every day, I can tell you that. By Dar Shakow Insurance. Again, they got a new group in there at Ironwood, a new greenskeeper, and it's getting better. Some of the greens are actually really good. Okay, Dar Shakow Insurance, they're always getting better. We love Dar Shakow Insurance. And by Ballyhoo Grill, where we may end up tonight. I think we're going the game, though. So we may go after the game. Ooh, that'd be cool. Maybe I can do that. All right, so we'll see whether we go to the game or not. I'm not sure. There's some issues going on. Seems like you think you're through something, and all of a sudden somebody tests positive. Somebody tests positive. Contact tracing, you still got to do it. Still got to pay attention. All right. Anyway, don't worry about my problems. The this on this, that, and the other was Nick Saban going off, just like Ryan Day did again last night, basically saying we need more money. And in Saban's case, of course, he said Look at Tech Sam. They bought that recruiting class. They were the number 1 recruiting class. And what he was saying, basically, to these big money boosters is, you got to give us more money for us to compete with this now. We have to come up with these NIL deals. Probably shouldn't have mentioned anybody by name, and that's where it obviously went south for him. That, of course, is in that Jimbo Fisher went scorched earth the next day and basically called him God. He thinks he's God, walking on water, all this. I thought he was the bad guy because he looked like an idiot. I'm talking about Jimbo Fisher, but I don't like Jimbo Fisher. And I do like Nick Saban, actually, especially Grouchy Nick. I love Grouchy Nick. And, of course, the other is at SEC meetings, they both had press conferences, and nobody said a damn thing. Everybody said, we're done. We're finished. We're fine. We're done. Finished. It's like the Lon Kruger. Lon Kruger, when Florida was getting ready to play Illinois, had said so many bad things about Florida and the way they supported the program and everything. We had them all there. Chris Harry had brought them. I remember all the clips and everything, all the things he'd said. We asked him about every one of them. I refused to answer. He didn't really say he refused. He goes, no, I don't think I ever said anything like that. I go, well, I'm reading it right here. But he walked off the stage and he turned to somebody right within earshot of me and said, how's that for saying nothing? That was what Jimbo and Nick did at the SEC Media Days. They said nothing. In fact, nothing came out of what was supposed to be the most anticipated SEC media, or not media days, but SEC meetings ever. This was where we're gonna get the schedule word. We're gonna get all this stuff. Nothing happened. We'll see. All right, that's gonna do it for another Duly Noted podcast. We appreciate all of you for listening, all of you for joining, and of course, Coach Spurrier, who will be on again Monday. We'll get him back to the Mondays with Meldon segments, and then we'll have another great guest for you on Friday. As we go forward during football season, we're going to try to get some former players to come on who we can talk about specific games and do stuff like that. But again, don't forget, we still got softball and baseball going on. Track will be going on. And by the time they're over, we're not that far away from SEC Media Days. So we'll have plenty to talk about. And you know me, I'm a talker. Until next time, I am Pat Dooley for Evan, who did a wonderful job producing again today, saying I am deep, I am way back, and I am out of here.